Γίνεται όλο και πιο πολύπλοκη εν έτη 2024, λίγοι είναι εκείνοι που εστιάζουν στη μεγάλη εικόνα. Ο Ιωάννης Ιτιλίδης είναι ομογενής της Αμερικής, με καταγωγή από την Αγία Κυριακή Καστοριάς. Είναι ιδιώτης και συμβουλεύει το Υπουργείο Εξωτερικών στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες ως περιφερειακός συντονιστής της Νότιας Ευρώπης για Ελλάδα, Κύπρο και Τουρκία, βάσει σύμβασης με την κυβέρνηση των Ηνωμένων Πολιτειών από το 2006, υπό τους προέδρους Μπούς, Ομπάμα, Τραμπ και Μπάιντεν. Βρέθηκε στην Κύπρο με αφορμή το συνέδριο της ΑΧΕΠΑ για τα 50 χρόνια εισβολής και κατοχής. Εμείς τον συναντήσαμε για μια εξαιρετικά ενδιαφέρουσα συζήτηση με το βλέμμα πάντα στη μεγάλη εικόνα.
I'm back in Cyprus for the first time in many years because mostly to join the AHEPA for the 50th anniversary grand banquet that's being held here this week, unfortunately in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Turkish invasion and ongoing occupation of Cyprus. It is a tragic situation in international relations and it breaks our hearts to this day. And we remain as dedicated as possible in the United States to see how we can help to bring about a just, enduring, and democratic solution to the Cyprus problem. So that's the first order of business here. But while I'm here, I'm also here to get a better sense on a personal level of the strengthening military and security cooperation ties between Cyprus and the United States. And we're seeing great things happening in this part of the world that I think will be very good for the people of Cyprus, for the economy of Cyprus, and for the security of Cyprus, as well as strengthening relations with the United States and with other European countries.
Πώς βλέπει ο ίδιος με την υφαλιότητα της απόστασης την κατάσταση στο Κυπριακό?
The unfortunate part has to be underscored. We don't see any significant daylight or possibility of a breakthrough in Turkish thinking about how to break the Cyprus issue logjam. As a matter of fact, in some ways, we think we've seen many steps taken backwards on the issue, coming from Ankara, from President Erdogan, and from this idea that we're beyond the federation proposal, one that the Greek Cypriots had made a major concession for a bi-zonal, bi-communal federation that's now off the table in favor of a supposed two-state solution, which is completely unacceptable on the Greek Cypriot side and for that matter to the international community. So I think we're going to have to see some type of a change on the Turkish side. I don't know that it'll take place while Mr. Erdogan is president of Turkey, and the question then becomes, are we preparing for a post-Erdogan Turkey with a different perspective on security, on energy cooperation, on economic cooperation, and to improve its own pathway to the European Union if that remains a serious objective for the Turkish government.
Άρα, λύση του Κυπριακού μόνο αν φύγει από την εξουσία της Τουρκίας ο Ερντογάν?
It seems that that's the case. Remember, one of the things that we were very hopeful about back in about 2002, 2003, when Erdogan first came to power, when his party, AKP, first came to power in Ankara, that he said that he would be one step ahead of the Greeks and the Greek Cypriots on all Cypriot matters. And it was Erdogan, ironically, who opened up the checkpoints between Cyprus and the occupied region. So those Turkish initiatives at the beginning were quite positive and quite welcome. And then we saw after the failure of the Annan plan and then Erdogan expecting a different future for the Turkish Cypriot community, not receiving from the European Union, he's turned very hostile. He's become very difficult on this issue. And I think it's only hardened now with the discovery of these energy resources, Aphrodite, off the southern coast of Cyprus, and Turkey's desire to become more of a maritime power in the Mediterranean Sea. So we see a much more hostile and intransigent position on trying to bring about a solution to Cyprus, as well as the exclusive economic zone differences that we're seeing now between Turkey, Greece, and Cyprus in a three-way larger problem across the eastern Mediterranean.
Ποια λοιπόν είναι η θέση της Κύπρου και η γεωπολιτική της αξία στην περιοχή της Ανατολικής Μεσογείου?
Cyprus has already proven itself to be a major pillar of stability and of security and of humanitarian support for the people of Gaza, the Palestinian people, with its central role in the humanitarian corridor for the pier that was built out in Gaza. Unfortunately, that pier is probably not going to be an enduring structure, and so whether or not the Cypriots will be able to help provide for a naval maritime corridor to Ashdod or other ports in Israel to be able to feed and to clothe and to sustain the suffering people of Gaza. I think Cyprus has a very important role to play there. It's also been very important in terms of trying to promote stability with the extraction of evacuees from the Middle East when we've had wars between Israel and Hezbollah in the past. And I think also there's a very important dimension here in that Cyprus enjoys very good relations with all the different parties in this part of the world. This is the most conflict-ridden part of the world, unfortunately, for the citizens of Middle Eastern countries. But Cyprus's ability to have better relations with Arab countries, with the Palestinian authorities, and with Israel places it in a very unique role of bringing together warring parties in a way that almost no other European country can. I think to a large degree, Russia is the country that we're most concerned with right now because Russia has had a historic presence in the Middle East. That was largely eliminated in the 1970s when Egypt came over to the pro-Western side. And we see now that Russia is back in a very menacing way in the Eastern Mediterranean, first by backing the Syrian government starting in 2015, and now the establishment of 49-year air and naval bases on the Tartus coast of Syria, on the Eastern Mediterranean, just a very, very short distance from here in Cyprus. Now we see that Russia is negotiating with the Libyan government to possibly establish a naval base just south of Crete, which would very much complicate US and Western and NATO naval operations in the Eastern Mediterranean. So Russia, I think, has been the main challenge to Western aims and goals here in the Eastern Mediterranean. And of course, Cyprus has had a very rich relationship, culturally, historically, religious ties, business ties with Russia that have been reformulated ever since the European Union sanctions on Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. So I think the U.S. is looking to Cyprus as a major new partner for promoting stability in terms of naval operations, search and rescue, non-proliferation, all of these key aspects of Western security in this very dangerous part of the world. And I would add one more thing that doesn't get discussed very often, and that is going back to what I mentioned before about the Houthis disrupting global shipping through the Red Sea. The Suez Canal is one of the world's most sensitive choke points. Much of the oil and natural gas that comes to Europe from the Middle East passes through the Suez Canal. Much of the finished goods that come here from East Asia come through the Suez Canal. And of course, the finished products from Europe to markets in the Middle East and South Asia and East Asia all go through the Suez Canal. So the degree to which Cyprus can join with Greece, with France, with the United States, with the United Kingdom, and very sensitively and very delicately with Israel and Egypt, to be able to maintain open shipping lanes in this very vital choke point of the world, I think only enhances Cyprus's stature across all of these security frameworks.
Υπάρχει πάντα στο τραπέζι και το ζήτημα της ασφάλειας, αλλά και της ειρήνης, και η Κύπρος έχει να διαδραματίσει πολύ σημαντικό ρόλο.
Now with the land operations and naval operations that will be coming out of Cyclops, we see a closer configuration and a harmonization of many foreign and security policies throughout the region. I think the U.S. and Cyprus are sharing more and more concerns about what they consider to be similar challenges and foes, and those that would undermine stability in this part of the world. And I think it also enhances broader European security in this area that had been relatively quiet for quite some time and will likely become a cauldron of crises, not just here in the Middle East, but if you look at this sort of arc of crisis around the Eastern Mediterranean, we have what will likely be probably a frozen conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Hopefully that war will come to a ceasefire sometime soon, but that war is not ending anytime in the near future. We have the possibility of a conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia. If there's not a peace breakthrough, there could be an all-out war. We still have the civil war in Syria, which most of the international media has forgotten. Certainly in the United States we have. And so that remains a very important issue. And we have this ongoing Iranian threat against a number of fronts in Israel.
Πώς βλέπει ο ίδιος την κατάσταση με τα πολεμικά μέτωπα στην ευρύτερη περιοχή?
And then we still have the civil war that's taking place in Libya. I mean, I would say that one of the most catastrophic errors the NATO alliance made is to overthrow the Gaddafi regime. He was a dictator, he was a cruel and evil man, but there was stability in Libya, and now we have human trafficking pipelines that are threatening the societal well-being of many European countries, with millions of Africans that are looking to come into European countries in the years ahead. And we have modern-day slavery taking place in open markets in northern Africa now as a result of the overthrow of Gaddafi. So Cyprus is right in the middle of all of these crises that don't seem to have any diplomatic settlement anytime in the foreseeable future. Cyprus needs to be better defended. It needs to stand up for itself against external enemies. We could only imagine how much better a partner Cyprus would be if there were no Turkish occupation of northern Cyprus. And that remains the key to really allowing Cyprus to achieve its full potential as a security partner in the Eastern Mediterranean. But I think Cypriot leaders look all around this radius, this periphery. They see crises and wars and conflicts and challenges everywhere, and they're taking the right steps and making serious, logical moves to enhance Cyprus's security.
Αν είχε την ευκαιρία ο ίδιος να συμβουλεύσει τον πρόεδρο Χριστοδουλίδη, τι ακριβώς θα του έλεγε?
I'm not sure that the president of Cyprus needs my guidance or my advice on anything. I think what you have here is a general sense of Cypriot civic leadership that recognizes it's not 1955, it's not 1960, it's not 1963, it's not 1974, it's not 1983, and it's not 2004. It's 2024. Cyprus has to proceed to the advancement of the Cypriot people, the citizens of Cyprus, those who have a stake in the future of this country, and make the best decisions for them domestically and in foreign policy, and to look to see where the Turkey issue is never diminished and remains at the forefront of the brighter future for the people of Cyprus, and to work with all of the regional partners who maybe can also help to lean on Turkey to do the right thing, not only for the people of Cyprus, but for the people of Turkey. Because every time Erdogan steps outside of Turkey and goes to a European capital, comes to Washington, he's hounded over the Cyprus issue. This is an albatross around Turkey's neck, and it only sets back Turkey's foreign policy, but sometimes ideology overtakes rationality, unfortunately.
Λοιπόν, αυτά από τον Ιωάννη Ξητιλίδη και